So back in the 70s, community access channels started here in Hayward. Chabot was one of the first, along with Cal State Hayward at that time. We shared channel 26, I believe, which changed to 24, 25, now it's 27, where educational channels were allowed to have their own shows. They also had the public channel. So PEG was what it was called, which public access, let's see, PEG, education and government is what that stands for. So you got the public channel, then you have the educational channel, and then you have the government city hall, meetings and stuff that they hold at city hall. Those three channels. They're basically take a percentage of all cable subscribers to about maybe 3 to 5% in the area, and that money goes to that particular expense. That basically saved Chabot Television from closing because a few years ago they ran out of money to run the TV station, and it is one of the first television stations on the West Coast. We had our own channels on campus, up to 5 channels, where the professor just turned on the power switch on the monitors and they got the program that they wanted. But it was all free to them, free to everybody. None of the departments paid for it, so it got costly. So what happened was the people who were running it called me and told me that was happening, that they're going to close. And Chabot was the place that I got my first job at and also started my entire career. So I wanted the students to not to miss out on that opportunity. So I brought my own production company over here and asked the dean, it was my son's idea actually, that can we rent the studio out to clients and then help students, once we're done with that. So we did that for like 3 years, and then the public access part of it changed. They decided to kind of get rid of all the public access channel except for regional. Before, it was in each city they had public access channels. It was a lawsuit by AT&T who didn't want to do public access, but the judge said, no, we won't eliminate public access altogether, but we will make it regional. So I went to the city of Hayward and told them, hey, look, why don't we make Chabot the regional public access center? And they loved the idea. They created a public access nonprofit, I guess, where all the cities get together and they use Chabot for their public access. The only 2 cities that actually signed on was Hayward and Fremont. The other cities have not used that fund at all, and it's just sitting there. They use it for their city councils, but they don't use it for anything else. So that fund is still available, and we are pursuing methods to get that going, because it's a real good way for the cities not to be able to, not having to pay anything. It's money that comes from cable. It's a good source of extra income, but the problem is it's for equipment only, and it's not for personnel. It's an old rule they have from the past. You can buy all the equipment you want, but no people to run it, which is kind of strange. But it's kind of vague. So some cities go, yeah, go ahead, like Hayward does. Hayward said we can at least hire student assistants for that, so students get involved in all aspects of everything we do here. And so that's what we are. We're the regional community media center. We run channel 28 and channel 27, which is our own channel, which used to be shared with Cal State. Cal State dropped out a few years ago when things started slacking off, I guess, due to technology changes and stuff. But we still kept ours going, and so we restarted that up again. We got a contract with Comcast through the city of Hayward that we run 24-hour programming on that channel with Chabot events and hopefully other events to fill it in. And then 28 is the public access channel where the producers can do their own stuff, and students as well. They can come in and produce shows. Out in the hall there, we have volunteers in the community who did a lot of shows that we made. You can see the posters that are out there. and we're still looking for more. So we want to give the students the opportunity to create their own show that literally is no difference than what they would get if they went to Hollywood to make shows, because we have distribution now. We have Apple TV, Roku, and Fire. We also have Comcast and AT&T, all run from here. We also have video on demand. The problem is we don't have enough programming to run all the channel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so it repeats.
Okay.
So that's what we want students, and we want the college involved to get those from Cal State, from here. It's our community. We try to give students the ability to cover real events. So in addition to their classes, the television class, which they have to do a news show once a week, we give them the opportunity to go out on red carpets, like we cover CineQuest. We also cover before the pandemic, all the Comic-Cons, and they got to go out and interview television stars and practically anybody we're allowed to. We were the last ones to interview literally Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek. We were given permission when she came out here to shoot, and it turned out to be one of the last interviews with her. And we've interviewed people from the Arrow TV series, Star Trek. Denise Crosby, as a matter of fact, comes here to lecture once in a while, and she's Tasha Yar on Star Trek. I've spoken to Michael Dorn before. Michael is interested in becoming Captain Worf, so he said he might do some green screen work here, because the studio wants him to do a pilot on his own, and he doesn't have the resources to do it. So he says, "Can I come over and do some things here?" I said, "Sure." He hasn't come yet, but the Fire Academy here, that with the city of Hayward, where they have actual mock-ups of a parking structure that's collapsed during an earthquake. They have an airplane on fire, basically. They also have a real used BART train, BART car, that they mounted on top of what looks like a BART rail with the overhead structure. And they train the Fire Academy people and firemen from all the agencies around the state, literally, to fight fires. And we're going to be doing all the training videos for them. So that's going to be a huge experience for that. We also do police training videos for the city of Hayward, city of Fremont. That used to be my job before for the Alameda County DA's office. So now we've kind of shifted over to Chabot's. Plus, basically, they get the opportunity to do anything they want, because I can get press passes to pretty much any event. Before the pandemic, we were also allowed to go interview upcoming movie stars. Like we interviewed Wayne Brothers for the Scream series a while back in San Francisco. Just like the press, they set up an entire area for the press to come and interview. Then they shuttle people through. And we had a couple of students. In fact, one of them was an intern from San Francisco State. Do a interview with them, and then we put it on YouTube. And we just got a lot of